The future of Tylea looks grim. Monsters menace the roads, and corruption threatens the cities. The storm god Sidon demands daily sacrifices at every temple, and his sister wife Etheria kidnaps children for her secret rituals. The five gods who once protected the settlers are silent, and now the oracle has prophesied the doom of Tylea, the death of gods, the destruction of Mitros, and the total annihilation of the mortal races. A group of heroes has been summoned to the Heartlands in an attempt to avert this coming catastrophe. They each have their reason for answering the summoning, but rumors of their coming have already spread across the land. A good afternoon, everyone. Good day, good day. As you've seen the trailer introduction, we are a bit late, so I'm not gonna make this intro very long. We will go quite quickly into the game. The first game of Odyssey of the Dragonlords for this group. So they each received a letter telling them to go to the Sour Vintage. And they all want to... they all listen to it.
Welcome to our establishment.
A follow. Josh, thanks for the follow. So they all went to the Sour Vintage, and one after the other they will enter the Sour Vintage. Now let's go and start by the first roll. I want a initiative from everyone to see who enters first.
Why are you not?
I think it's me.
I think Kaelin is gonna enter first. I will throw in the introduction of Kaelin first. We all had a introduction made, so let's go listen to that one.
My name is Kaelin. Still sure of this much. As for anything else, that's a little more complicated. I woke up a couple of weeks ago, washed ashore on an unfamiliar beach. My memory was muddled. I guess it still is. I remember being a soldier of sorts, a scout, in a large war against the natives of Tylea. I remember the large battle and falling into the sea. I assumed I'd simply gotten lucky and washed up after that. So I got up and started walking, looking for people who could tell me more about where I was and what had happened in the war. Imagine my surprise when, as I sauntered into a small town, I saw Thylian natives and non-natives working, talking, and playing together like it was normal. As I asked around, I made a shocking discovery. That war I remembered fighting in had happened over 5 centuries ago. Everything I had known and held dear, my order, my friends, my family, all were long gone. I was left without a people or a purpose. I wandered around for a while, doing odd jobs to scrape by, trying to collect information about the centuries I had missed. In short, I was utterly lost. But I tried to keep hope that I could one day make sense of it all. Then, one day, as I was traveling from town to town, a strange old man handed me a letter, with my name on it, even though I'd been careful with mentioning it. The letter bid me to come to an inn, the Sour Vintage. I got the feeling this strange invitation could help me get the answers I'd been looking for. So, without hesitation, finally having a purpose again, I started my journey.
So, Galen gets to the Sour Vintage. And Galen stands outside.
Yes. I double checked that it's the right place from the directions that I got and the sign that's outside.
It is, yes.
And I pulled the hood a bit more over my eyes and I curiously but cautiously walk inside. The entrance is here, right?
The entrance is, yeah, over here. Yeah. As soon as you enter, a large group of patrons fall silent. Look who's entering, and as soon as they see it's someone they don't know, they continue with their talks, conversations, and they let you do whatever you want.
I look around, try to observe what's going on here, and then I'll be a true rogue and go and sit in a corner.
Very good, very good. After you, Lyra will come in.
My name is Lyra Galanis, and I grew up on the east side of the Old Woods, near one of the cliff's edges on the Cerulean Gulf. I would love to soar the skies and dive its waters. I'd be able to spend days and days there, just enjoying the view and the solitude, forgetting time completely. This is often when my Aunt Celia would come and find me. I don't really know why I like spending my time here, but I keep getting drawn back here, even if I have to pass through the woods and attract unwanted attention. But it's worth it. On the way back through the forest, Aunt Celia would often lecture me about staying away for so long, but I don't really listen anymore. Not really. Because I have to stay vigilant. Because most of the time, when Aunt Celia is with me, they leave me in peace. But you see, whenever I leave my village or my spot at the cliffs, small creatures will appear around me, and they would start making fun of me. Pixie would pull my hair, call me names. Goatlings would gnaw at my dress. Some creatures even tried to make me trip, and the times they succeeded, I could hear laughter all around, as if these creatures were only here to enjoy my misery. My aunt says to ignore them, but this doesn't really help. But my village is a quiet one. Most of the other sirens don't really talk to me, and I'm not really one for conversation, so I'm fine with being left alone. I do, however, enjoy the company of my aunt, especially the time we spend with our cards and trying to discern their meaning, because these cards mean everything to me. They're the only thing I have left of my mother. That's why I consult them every morning. My aunt taught me how to read them, and they have been a great comfort for me during my years. I've always trusted them, and they have never let me down. One day, the cards told me a new path would open up for me, a path that would change my life. And that day, a knock sounded on the door, and the invitation from the oracle was delivered. I knew then I had to go.
So Lyra turns up at the Sour Vintage.
That she does. She's descending from the skies even, because she has her wings out, and she lands in front of this small building, and she'll check if it's the right place and carefully step in. After a little time before she dares to, but she eventually will.
The same happens to you. The people in the tavern look up, see it's someone they do not know, and they turn back to their conversations.
She'll look a little uncomfortable because she's not used to being around people she doesn't know. And she spots a chair in a corner and thinks, I'll just sit here. And probably somebody will announce themselves or anything. So I'll just stay here and mind my own business until then.
Yeah, before that happens, Procyon will...
Hark, little one, let me tell you a tale long past. Oh, no. One more time. Hark, little one, let me tell you a tale long past. No, this is useless. Can't. Not right now. Greetings from the far reaches of the Heartlands. I am Procyon, chief of the Oran nymphs residing near Willowreach village as their guardians. I've spent the last 53 years of my 153 years of existence being a bard and leader to grace all with fame, luck, and prosperity within my territory. There is trickery afoot, however. I'm looking for my brethren, but no one seems to remember their existence, nor their feats in protecting our home. People of the village seem to believe these feats were all done by me alone. I cannot accept this. I was only away for a day. A single day. The traces of their existence haunt me. What happened? Who did this? Why? With the stars fading to dawn, the disappearance was quiet and sudden. I must find them. I must. precious Orion is also out there. So I have responded to this letter. A traveler on a road handed this to me. For some reason, he knew exactly who I was. This may be the only lead I have.
So Procyon also gets to the Sour Vintage.
Yep. I think Procyon would double check looking at his letter and directions before looking at the tavern again.
Yeah, there's also a sign hanging out outside the door. So it's
Yep.
quite clear that this is indeed the right inn.
He grimaces a little bit at the sight of the place before he strides very elegantly inside.
Okay. The people look up. They see a bard entering. And they do actually react the same way as they done to the other two. They do not pay a lot of attention to you.
I think Procyon would take a good look around at who is in the tavern before he would either try and look for a drink or to find a place where he could strum his music without being disturbed. So I think he would probably walk up to the bar to talk to the barkeep.
And that's okay. The barkeep comes over and she welcomes you. Hello. How can I help you?
Hello. I was hoping to get a pint of ale, please.
That's okay. Yeah, I'll get you one. So she walks off for a moment, taking an ale, and comes back. That's 3 copper pieces. It's not the best we have, but something.
He slides over the 3 copper pieces and he says, "Thank you very much,"
You're welcome.
before he goes to sit down, and he would sit down next to Lyra.
Okay.
She'll just like nod and not say anything.
He would
Very shy.
he would grin into his ale before taking a sip.
Okay. You all follow closely together. So before you can even start a conversation, the door will open again for the next one.
Greetings. You may call me Izana. I have traveled a great distance to reach this house of rest and meeting. My home is far up in the mountains, where the snow-clad peaks meet the clouds of the azure sky. My skin and hair match the granite color of the stone I hail from, and my green eyes reflect the hue of the ore that sheltered my unborn form. I wear the armor of my tribe, and my head is covered by a skull. The tribe that raised me is small and caring, in their own way, and though Kalomira, the woman who took me in, is no longer among the living, I will always cherish her memory. She took me from the darkness of the mines into the radiance of the wilds. These precious creatures are gifts to the world, and it is my fondest wish to prove to them that Kalomira did not make a mistake in bringing me into their midst. I am happy that my protector has not been around to witness the strife for the past few years. As for how I found myself here, I was tracking a beast near a small village when an old man stopped me on the road and handed me this note. As I watched this well-preserved meal, a small bell rang in my mind, pulling at the strings of my dreams. As I read the note, I knew I had to follow its fate call.
So Zana also gets to the Sour Vintage.
Yeah. Zana looks around, checks the sign, walks up a little bit closer, just checking it again, looking around again, and then before she walks in, she will grab the back of the skull that she has on her head, take it off, and walk through the door. Her white hair is just flowing at this point behind her. She'll
Also
stop
with
just inside the door and look around.
yeah, also with you, the group of people sitting there look up, see it's someone they do not know, and they turn back to their conversations.
Interesting place here. She'll look around, walk over to this, like the chair, the table in the middle here,
Mm-hmm.
and with her back towards the wall, she'll sit down by this chair. Now let me double check something real quick. As she sits down, you see her unhook the longbow from her back and place it down next to her, because sitting with a longbow is very uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And she also places a quarterstaff next to her, along with the quiver.
Okay. As soon as you sit down, the door opens again for the next person to enter.
At ease. My name is Witten Terrafellow, a battle sorcerer by profession. I am the youngest of 3 sons to noble wine cultivator Nerina Terrafellow. You've probably seen some bottles of Terrafellow wine around Philia. I'm told my father was a soldier, but we've never met. If I was to guess, he was of elven persuasion due to the shape of mine and my brother's ears. I lived a perfect life, training, learning and drinking my way around Mitros, not an ounce of the arcane running through my veins. This was until one night where, in a fight with my oldest brother, I accidentally blasted him with a stray bolt of blue flame. He was fine, however for this I was banished from my family's estate for 6 months while I learned to control my gift. I wandered around Philia for many weeks, starving and scrimping to stay alive until I arrived at the doorstep of the stepped centaurs. They saw me starving and decided to feed me, and helped me start the process of honing my magical gift. In conjunction with my formal spear training, they helped me become a somewhat competent warrior. They told me that my magic can be traced back to Pythor, god of battle, and a fraction of his blood runs through my veins. I stayed with these good people for 2 years, fully aware I could return home. But I didn't need to, for I had found a new home with the centaurs. But when the oracle called, I was not foolish enough to ignore.
So this person also enters the inn.
Witten walks in like he owns the place, just strides, doesn't even wait to see how he's received, walks straight up to the bar, just says, "A glass of wine, please."
Okay, good sir. The barkeep walks over to a cabinet standing behind the bar and pours a wine, which she will bring to Witten. That's 6 copper pieces.
Take a gold. And
It-
he'll
it-
just put a gold on
Gold.
the table.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thanks.
He will kind of take a survey of the bar and see all the people, and then try. And as he's looking around, sees the folk kind of gathered in the corner, and walks up, and he says, "Well, aren't we a strange bunch?"
You want to speak?
Perhaps. I'm guessing, by your appearances, your weaponry, you aren't regular patrons of this tavern?
No, are you?
Absolutely not.
Oh, well, if you had said yes, I would have said yes also. He gives a very hearty laugh after that.
Right in front of you, Witten, is what is very clearly a cleaned out skull with antlers that don't really fit on it. It's resting on the table.
Galen is just assuming you're not talking to them, so because they're wearing a brown cloak, it's very basic.
Lyra just looks from Procyon to Witten and then back and like, and then just bows her head down again and just stays silent.
So you're all sitting in the Sour Vintage, not really talking to each other.
I think Procyon would try and get a conversation going, so he would go, "You all should probably try the ale. It does seem much better than you would expect."
Sure. I'll get an ale then, and she gets up and walks to the bar.
Okay. And the barkeep looks at you. How can I help you?
I would like the same thing that gentleman in the corner with me has, please.
Yeah, okay. Let me get you. She walks. She pours you an ale as well.
Sana leans back in her chair to look at the barkeep and, "Do you have anything that has not been fermented?"
We got some milk.
That'll do. Milk or water, either is fine.
Okay. She
You can give it to me. I'll give it to her.
then she walks off to the back. And a moment later comes back with a glass of milk.
And Lyra will hand over the drink to Sana. Here you go.
Thank you.
How much was it for the this? And she points at her drink.
Was it
3 copper pieces.
3 copper pieces? Yes.
And she'll
yeah.
like bury in her pouch, and after a while, 3 copper pieces come out.
Okay.
And she'll walk back to her chair.
What do I owe you for the milk?
That's 2 copper pieces.
With basically the first smile that anyone has seen, she'll take 2 copper pieces and, closing one eye, flicks it over to the bar, and she'll try to hit one of the glasses or any tankard or glass that is on the bar, just to make sure that it doesn't just skitter away, but stays on the bar or the counter.
Roll me a dex check.
Sure thing.
Let's see if it's if you manage to do so.
Dex check. There we go. Come on. Okay, why is it not translating? Are you just being slow?
Probably.
There we go. That's a no.
That's a no, indeed. That's not. You throw the coin. Unfortunately, a bit too hard, and it's it does stay on the bar, but instead of landing against the glass, it drops in the glass of the person is sitting on your side of the bar, which still had ale in it. Oi!
Procyon,
What's that?
Procyon laughs out loud and goes, "Quite the shot! Quite the shot!"
Aelin just snorts in their corner.
Why did you do that?
But I do apologize. I was not aiming for the glass, although that was a pretty good shot. Let me get you the next round. And this time
Thanks.
This time she'll get up and then place 3 copper pieces on the bar, like under her hand, to make sure that no, it did not land in the drink.
Okay. So that's okay. That's great. Yeah. So you're at the moment only Kaelin is not drinking anything.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Just observing.
Okay. So after all of you have a drink, a dark-haired woman walks over to your table. She wears a white traveling dress and practical leather boots, and she carries a large satchel that appears to contain dozens of scrolls along with plentiful writing supplies. Greetings, I am Kyra. Thank you for answering my summons. I will be direct. I am here as an agent of the Oracle. She believes that great destinies await all of you. But great destinies are forged by great deeds. A terrifying giant boar has been laying waste to the Heartlands, slaughtering everything in its path. This boar was corrupted by the Titans and sent to punish the mortals of Tylea for their continued faith in the 5 gods. Many have attempted to hunt the boar, all have failed. If you wish to win fame and fortune, as a great hero should, then you should prove to the people of Tylea that you are the warriors of the Oracle's prophecy. Hunt this boar and offer it to one of the gods as a sacrifice. Is what she says.
Procyon would look at everyone at the surrounding tables and go, "I see that we were all called, then."
Yes! Yes! I will send you a letter. Or at least, yeah.
Yeah, I think Procyon would get up and walk towards her with a bit of a sway in his step and go, "You seem to know exactly who I was. May I ask you if you know of my circumstances?"
The Oracle told me
I see.
you're a bard.
Yes,
That's
I
a
am.
coincidence, I'm as well.
Then we will have many tales to swap with each other. But first, tell us more of this giant.
There's in the Heartlands, there's a giant boar. Yeah, thrashing about. He's already killed a lot of people. And yeah, like I said, he's corrupted by the Titans.
Yes. Procyon will glance again at the group and say, "So, I assume you all know that I am a bard, but who are all of you?"
Yes, who are you? I know, but everyone else doesn't.
Zana will sigh, tilt her head, look at the two bards, and you called me down from my mountain to hunt a boar.
It's not just a boar. And like I said, there's a lot more going on right now.
She
And
wants us to prove ourselves, I assume.
yes, and this boar is actually the best way to do that, I guess.
I am already in. You said hunt. I am a hunter. I am already interested. What else can you tell us about this?
Yeah, like I said, it already killed a lot of people. It's destroying the land. That's actually why it's so busy here. Most of these people they flee their homes just to be safe from this boar.
That's quite horrible.
That is a shame, to be sure. What I'm more interested in, just how far from this particular establishment is the boar at this moment? Not at this very second, obviously, but the last sighting.
That sighting has been, and she turns around to some people sitting at the bar at the other end of the bar. When was it? And they respond with, "We've seen him 2 days ago. He seems to have a cave somewhere." Oh, apparently he has a place to stay.
Well, in the cave, will be most helpful. Are we to assume that this boar is 2 days' travel from here?
Oh
Or
no,
has it not
probably.
been seen since?
If we can find this cave, it's probably only a few hours or something. But it could be 2 days. It's hard to tell, actually.
Sorry to barge in. Going back to this oracle bit, how does she know who we are?
Oh, she knows a lot. She's seen some heroes in her visions, and she expected it would be you.
That's quite
The Oracle
fascinating.
is quite well known in these parts. I'm surprised you don't know of such a person.
I've been busy.
I see. Busy and pretty. Quite the debacle.
Yes, I know.
Yes.
Kalen doesn't know how to respond to that.
Let's.
Lyra doesn't know if she needs to like grin or needs to flush even more, just getting a sense of who these people are.
I suggest you get to know each other a bit, and we can go hunt for this boar tomorrow. It's already quite late. It's about 5 o'clock in the evening.
True. Better to head out in daylight.
Yes. We
It
could
would be
leave at
easier
first
to
light
track
tomorrow.
it.
We could leave at first light tomorrow.
It does sound like a
sound-
plan.
Yes, it does.
I could ask if these guys are coming with us, if you want.
No.
They can at least show us where where to start looking. They've seen him.
Well, that is a good plan. I just don't. I just do not want people to get hurt unnecessarily. If they can indicate on a map or a beginning of a trail, that would be most helpful. However,
I do believe these people would at least have some self-preservation, so it should be fine.
They are
well,
hunters as well.
rampaging.
If they
That's
want
true.
to come, I mean, it maybe you should just leave the choice to them.
I'll talk to them. So you just get to know each other, and we're gonna start a journey together.
All right, this is
This oracle can answer a lot of questions, right?
Oh yes, she can. Yes.
So if we do this for her, she can answer some of our questions.
Oh yes, probably. She knows a lot. She handpicked you herself for this mission.
I had an inkling when I got this page that it was someone quite powerful to know exactly who I was and my circumstances. So,
Quite weird.
my only assumption was it was the Oracle.
I hope she can help me as well. I've seen some things and I'm not quite sure what to make of them. So,
Oh,
seeing she's an oracle,
she probably knows a lot.
yeah.
But you go and get to know each other a bit, and yeah, let's make sure we all get back down here at first light tomorrow.
Sounds like a plan.
I don't have a lot of coin though, so I'm just gonna ask if I can do something to earn my keep here. I'll walk up to the barkeep. Excuse me.
Yes.
So, I don't have a lot of coin. Is there any way that I could do some jobs to earn my keep?
You're one of those persons invited by the bard, right?
Seems so, yeah.
We'll
I don't mind doing anything like the dishes, some laundry, some cleaning, some cooking. Although
we'll
don't
provide for you.
guarantee it.
We'll provide for you today. And we'll see you again tomorrow.
In that case, can I have an ale?
Yeah. And she pours you an ale.
Thank you.
Hearing that,
The only one out of the group that gets free ale.
She's the only
hearing
one
that,
who opted to work for it.
Yeah.
Hearing that, Sana will once again lean back on the chair, and you hear this distinct groaning of a chair being tilted. And she'll look at the barkeep and say, "If it becomes a problem, I would not mind covering, at least for the night, for my would-be companion."
Oh no, it's fine.
I don't mind working.
It's fine.
No.
I'll manage.
The offer still
Yeah.
stands.
Thank you.
Gonna sit right at the metal table where these two are.
Lyra will walk over as well and just sit here, but scoot a little so that Kaelin can join in next.
Yeah.
Will Kaelin
move
join
over
in as
here,
well?
sort of. They'll stay back a bit, but yes, get a bit closer, like here.
Okay.
So I know why I am here. What brings on? I'm pretty sure all of us are here because of the letter. I am, however, not entirely convinced by Pretty Boy and whatever you are. And she'll look at Witten. When she says pretty boy, she looks at Procyon, and then whatever you are, she'll look at Witten.
Oh, don't be so cold.
He was quite.
When just says, if you must know, I'm here because it seemed like a lark.
You'd like a good time. Maybe we can get along.
Perhaps.
I am here in hopes that the Oracle or whoever had sent this letter knew of my circumstances and my family. You see, they have disappeared. I am looking for them.
I'm here for a similar reason. My name is Kaelin, by the way.
I am Procyon, chief of the Aura Nymphs of Willow Reach.
Just Kaelin.
Hello, just Kaelin. He has a shit-eating grin on his face as he says this.
I'm well, you can call me Zana. And it is quite unusual to find a star born quite so young. And she looks at Procyon.
Well, it is my first time meeting a rock nymph so old. He says back as he puts his ale down on the table, a little annoyed.
Lyra just says, "Oh boy." I'm Lyra. I have wings, and I'll help.
Wings,
Thank
you
you,
say?
Lyra.
And you see this glint just light up in Zana's eyes. And like, wings, you say? And she'll lean forward, scooting the the skull that is in the center of the table just enough so she can try to reach out and just try to touch your wings.
Oh, you want to
Welcome to our
touch them?
establishment.
And she just not vamps open her wings, but she just makes them larger so you can touch them real easy. And the wings you see are a light brownish color at the top, and there are some blue-green feathers on the bottom of them.
Completely blocking Kaelin out of the conversation.
Yes.
Oh yeah, Zana is completely fascinated by this, and she'll trace the outer, like the longer feathers with a hand, and then just lean back in her chair, and with a elbow on the table, she'll rest her chin on her hand and just like trace the lines of basically every feather she can see with her eyes.
I think Procyon's gonna... Oh, okay, go ahead.
Lyra will be a little uncomfortable and also realize that, oh, Kaelin, of at least she's blocking, so she'll try to, get her wing in a weird position that Kaelin can still see them, but also Sana can still see the feathers, and it's very awkward.
It's just
When-
drinking their ale, so.
Witten pulls the feather out of his wine.
Procyon's gonna lean over to Witten and go, at least you can use that as a pen now, a quill, you know? Upsides.
Honestly, I do not even know what to say. I am amazed at the Oracle's choices.
Well, who are you?
Witten, Terrafellow.
Oh,
Okay.
I'll try to keep my feathers out of your wine from now on, Witten.
Preferably out of my general, keep a good personal space.
She'll just clap in her wings, basically on the side where Witten is, and just trying to be as
Procyon's
small
gonna
as possible.
he's gonna scoot his chair closer just because of what Witten said. Let's not make our friends uncomfortable, shall we?
Right. Okay. Now I'm less interested in you, personally, here to do a job, but I'm intrigued about what you can do professionally. Zana, was it? You said you were a hunter?
I am, yes.
Wonderful. Just with the he looks to the side at Procyon just right there, and is like, and you? You said you're a bard?
Yes, but I'm also the chief of my village. I know quite a lot about diplomacy and how to make people shine in the just right sort of way.
Well, that sounds
You
wonderful.
would know.
Hmm?
You would know, wouldn't you?
Yes, I do. He says as he loses concentration a bit and brightens up next to everybody.
How would you look at that? A shining example of the bards.
Yes, perfect for profession. Oh, we're English. Perfect profession, don't you think?
Suits you.
I mean, a guide in the dark would also work.
It is indeed admirable. You, Lyra, was it? What do you do?
I don't really. Well, I get some glimpses of strange occurrences, and I don't really know what that's about. But other than that, I've realized I can be helpful with a little bit of magic. I don't quite understand it yet, but I could protect a little, or even I helped a little girl this morning. She fell, and I made sure she wasn't hurt anymore. So I can help with those things.
Sure, you'll be of
Ah.
great help, Lyra.
The barkeep walks over. Can I get you something to eat this evening?
What do you offer?
We do have mashed potato and some vegetables, steamed vegetables, and hunted deer.
That sounds delightful.
I
Yeah, I'm
wouldn't
good with
mind.
anything. I'm good with anything.
Yeah. Sir, you as well?
Very well.
Okay. And he moves back behind the counter, goes into the kitchen.
And what about our friend back there? What do you do?
Oh, I can't do magic or any of that fancy stuff. I'm pretty good with the bow, and I'm pretty good with a rapier.
Sometimes that is all you need, right?
Yep.
Well, it sounds
Got me
like you've
far.
got quite the crew together.
How about you?
I have a spear, and I can use it.
We
Sounds
have
useful.
bait and we have shooters. Delightful.
I hope you don't
Bait?
mean me. I really hope not.
Oh
Rock nymphs
no.
do seem to be quite thick in that area.
I like you, Procyon.
I hope so. Quite everyone does.
I do hope I'm not bait. I'm not very good at being on the front lines.
I, I, I've never been. Well, I have been bait, but I don't like it. But if it helps, I'll try. I guess.
No, I was talking about the spearman.
Ow. Well, okay.
Since he seems to be the one of us who can take a beating.
Is he wearing armor?
No.
Rizana
No.
is our heavy hitter. She's the
You
I
do
know.
see that Lyra is she is like wearing some Roman kind of robes, but on top of that it's like a leather armor, a studded leather armor that really doesn't belong anywhere, but it has been put on her, and she does wear a shield and has a mace, but she doesn't really look like she knows how to use any of it, but she does have it.
Kaelin is wearing just a very plain brown cloak, but you can see like glimpse beyond that because they would have taken off the hood by at this point. You can see they have pretty nice leather armor, very well fitted.
Rizana is wearing like leather armor that is very obviously tailored to her specifically. Her arms are bare, and but it crisscrosses across her chest and all the way down to her hips, and it almost looks like a skirt made of leather scales that goes down to her knees.
Procyon he himself is in leather armor, but he made sure to put intricacies and designs and bubbles on it. And his outfit seems to match the black-brown type aesthetic, very natural earthen colors. But the top area where his shirt is, which is on top of the leather armor, is very loose fitting. Most of his clothing on the outside is loose fitting. It fits very much into his lackadaisical personality.
Witten is wearing this fur-lined black coat that's knee-length. No shirt, just coat. That's all he's wearing on his top half. He's got some basic, well-suited to him trousers belted together and some about shin-high boots. And that's about it, really.
That surprised me a little bit.
Not sure if Spearman is the best to be in front.
I mean, he does not even have a shirt. Not that I think that is a bad thing. He says as Procyon quite obviously looks at the fact that he does not have a shirt on.
Checking him out.
Yeah.
After about half an hour, the barkeep is returning with some plates and puts them on the table. She also puts it a plate in front of Kaelin. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Don't you want to sit here, Kaelin? Or are you good there?
There's not really a lot of space. I'm good.
I'll just come and sit with you, so then you don't have to sit alone.
Oh, I don't mind.
Too late. She's already sitting.
Kaelin is visibly a bit strange about Lyra, Zana, and Procyon. They are just a bit on edge.
It would be quite obvious to everyone watching that Zana is not human.
Yes.
It's very
exactly.
obvious that Procyon is
Yeah.
not human either, because
Yeah.
he is still glowing.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think we established that Lyra
Yeah.
has wings, so not
Yes.
human.
Yeah.
So it's the racism.
Zana has like actual silver streaks going through her skin, like granite does.
Oh,
So
cool.
it would be obvious to anyone who looks at her like, that's not quite human, is it?
Even if Procyon wasn't shining, he does have flicks of golden light in his hair. So I think he would poke at his food a bit before eating some and then turning to Zana and goes, if anything in this little adventure we're going to have, I did not expect another nymph to be with us.
Same. There are not very many nymphs on my path.
I
I
have
do not.
only quite normally seen my brethren. I have not seen many outside of our close-knit community.
There
Quite a
are.
while. Go ahead.
Sorry. Uh, there are no other nymphs in my community. The ones I have seen are few and far between as I travel.
Been quite a while since I've saw nymphs as well. Very long time.
Oh, I hope it doesn't disappoint, he says as he combs through his hair.
Witten will kind of, as he's eating his food, just kind of. Okay, I've resisted long enough. That skull, you just bring it with you everywhere?
Yes.
No.
Would you leave your head ornament laying around just for kicks?
My head ornament?
Yes. And then she'll pick up the skull and just plop it on her head.
I think
And
she just
take it
called you
off.
stupid. he snickers.
Although it is, as far as I understand, polite to take your hat off indoors.
Quite.
It is. Might I ask, Zana, right?
Yes.
Procyon called you quite rudely old. How old are you?
Let me think. I do believe that in human years, I would be close to 340 this year.
I don't think it's rude if it's the truth, especially
Indeed.
in the presence of another nymph. We are quite territorial, you see.
I didn't know that. Learn something every day.
Indeed. Although
Okay,
this young one over here has a few things to learn, as far as I can tell.
I think you know too many things. Sometimes ignorance is bliss, you know.
You can see Sana visibly biting her lower lip and then start poking through her mashed potatoes.
I love
Kaelin
this
just
dynamic.
gets out. Kaelin just gets out a little notebook, makes a few notes for themselves, and puts it away again.
Lyra's just eating her meal, not minding anybody, and just. I'm just gonna sit there, eat my meal, and hope this doesn't explode in our face. Yay!
Procyon's going to look over at Witten and go, well, if you aren't going to keep that feather, may I?
Oh, yes, please get it away from me.
So Procyon picks it up and then puts it in his backpack.
Surprisingly, you hear Lyra whisper, "Rude."
What's rude, Lyra, is dropping your feathers in people's wine. No.
That's true. We're both rude.
It is true.
Procyon's gonna look between Lyra and Witten and go, you really shouldn't give her a hard time. She seems to have quite the gentle personality.
Yeah, forgive me.
Nothing to forgive. You said you were rude, so everything's good.
Finn kind of look at Lyra and be like, never actually. I mean, this might sound really weird, I'm not sure. I've never actually talked with a siren like this before.
Well, I might be a little strange, I guess, from the other sirens, but I don't know. We can talk.
Well,
Sometimes we sing.
I've heard about the siren song, yes.
Yeah, we have that as well. But I've not really talked to anybody that's not a siren, so I haven't really used that. So don't think I'll
Because-
start with you guys.
No, I've
So-
heard that siren songs can be quite dangerous for those who are not sirens.
I've heard that as well, so that's why they told me not to sing.
Good,
So
good.
Yeah.
Caitlin just drink some more ale. The awkward. Okay.
let's just if I need to try it on someone that we need to have distracted or anything like that, let me know and I'll try. No promises. And I shouldn't try it on anybody who I like. That's basically what my aunt told me.
Right.
So you're good.
I'll have the songs covered in most cases, I would think.
Yeah, you said you were a bard.
I am, yes. I specialize in my drum and my voice.
Then the singing will be all yours.
Unless
If
we
any-
need a tactical advantage.
Yes.
Do you have any songs about the First War?
Of course I do. It's quite popular.
Could you? It's rude to ask if you could perform one, wouldn't it?
I don't mind at all, he says as he pulls out his tauntaun from his backpack.
There's already someone playing over here.
Oh, okay. I should probably do it when our other bard friend is done over there. He sets his tauntaun on the ground next to the table, between him and Witten.
Oh, of course. Of course. Just curious what kind of tales you can tell.
I
Witten
know
is
of many.
fighting- Sorry, go on.
He was just going to say, I know of many.
Witten is fighting every urge to just bang the dum dum, like just play it. Like he's just like he's side eyeing it. Like, no, you know you're better than this.
Procyon looks at him and then looks at the tauntaun and goes, You can play it if you want. Just don't damage it. It is my livelihood after all.
No, I wouldn't embarrass myself. This meal is truly haunting. Should is anyone local? Does anyone know a place where we could get food aside from this?
This food is great.
Lyra
Quite
just
good.
whispers again. Rude.
It's quite good, actually.
He'll just slide his plate over to the others.
You're a bit picky, aren't you?
I'm extremely picky.
Once again, you see that glint of amusement in Zana's eyes. And she looks up, like, she's been looking at her plate, and then she looks up, like, from under her lashes, straight at Witten, and, well, I do believe that if we are going to be on the road, this little lordling might have a problem. if he doesn't like the food here. And then she'll grin, like, not in a malicious way, like in a play taunting way.
Win will just, probably completely oblivious to the everything, will just be like, I'm sure the food out there will be much better.
We can
Well,
only hope.
On the road we'll probably cook ourselves, and my cooking is not the best.
I can cook. I believe I am a very good cook. My brethren seem to have thought so, at least.
I don't mind helping out. I'm decent.
I can hunt though, but we already have a dedicated hunter.
That doesn't mean we don't need more than one.
Exactly.
More hunts is always better.
More importantly,
Oh, yeah.
where are we going to sleep?
Well, just take a bedroll and hope it doesn't rain.
No, I mean for tonight. I
Oh.
do believe the other bard said that we would have a place to stay for the night.
Yeah,
Oh.
here. I just asked. I at least got a.
If they
Ah,
don't have a dedicated dorm, I'm sure there's a barn somewhere where we can find a hay bale or, you know.
I will go and ask then, for our party's sake. Procyon walks over to the bar.
Welcome to my establishment.
Yes.
Hello. I was wondering if there was a place me and my fellow party members could stay for the night. I believe you've talked to Kaelin already.
Yes, and there is quite a. There has been quite a group coming in already. There's because of that boar. There's a lot of people staying here, but I do still have one sleeping quarter left, with about 10 beds. Part of those are already taken, though.
Procyon would look at the others and go, "Do you mind sharing the place with some other guests?"
I
Not at
don't
all.
mind. Not at all. All I require is not to be rained on, really.
Oh no, it's a normal sleeping hall where you can.
It's alright with me, so yes.
But
Yes.
everyone looks at Witten.
Sorry, it's the best I can do.
You could always sleep outside.
Win tries his best to not vomit and says, "Ugh, if I must."
Well, if you heard of that, yes, we would love to have those accommodations.
I'll. Yes, then you can have them. Yes.
Thank you. He grins at her before going to sit back down.
Yeah.
Roommates for the night.
And roommates for the future, I believe.
I've never had roommates.
Well, you're lucky. Had some awful roommates.
Does it count as roommates if you share one building with all the other young girls and women of your village?
I believe that would be just a giant room where you would sleep. Roommates would
dorm.
mean that there would be separate rooms.
Ah, then no,
Wait.
I have not had roommates.
Well, I mean, dorm mates also counts, right?
Maybe.
I don't know. I'm curious to test it out.
I always made sure that my town and my people had their own private sleeping quarters, at the very least.
I tend to move around a lot, so my requirements are quite manageable. As long as I'm out of the wind and out of the rain, I'm fine.
Even if it rains, I'm fine as long as I'm not cold. So, dorming with 9 others, not a problem.
As the evening progresses, people are leaving. Some of them go upstairs. Some of them just leave the tavern. But everyone, most of them are leaving.
Maybe we should not make it too late. I mean, I've never tried to slay a giant boar before, and I think I need my rest.
Yes, it might be for the best.
Mhm.
Procyon says as he takes his tauntaun and puts it back into his bag.
So, no song about the First War.
Well, I do believe our bard friend is over there. I wouldn't want to disturb them. Or would
Maybe
you...
tomorrow on the road.
Ooh, good point.
Oh, yes.
The bard is coming over. I would suggest you don't make it too late. We have a big day tomorrow.
Yes.
We were, in fact, discussing that. Making our way up to our accommodations for the night.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so
Go
you
upstairs.
go.
I claim top bunk.
Are they bunk beds?
No, sorry.
Okay. That would have been funny.
That would have been very funny.
No, sorry.
I think I'm gonna go up then.
All right.
I don't know if others are coming, but else I'll see you tomorrow.
Yes.
And she'll make her leave to go upstairs.
Zana will, after some work to get her gear back, well, her quiver, she's not gonna hook the bow and staff back on. She'll hold those in her hands. After surveying the stairs, she's like, those are not gonna fit. Plops the skull back on her head and follows Lyra up the stairs.
Okay. Is there someone who still wants to have a conversation in the evening?
Oh, well. Procyon's going to stay down here for a while. He's going to pull out the tauntaun again and go, well, our bard friend has left. Would you still like to hear that song?
Yes.
Yeah. He'll start playing it and he will, in his more baritone type voice, regale you with the tales of the First War and the Dragonlords.
Roll me a performance.
All right.
If you're gonna perform, then you're gonna
16.
It's
good roll.
quite well. Well done.
So it talks about the Dragonlords positively?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Just double asking. I wonder what happened to them. I say after the song is done.
Most of them had died, Procyon says as he puts the tauntaun back into his bag. Although some of them had disappeared. To this day, though, the ones who have disappeared must have died, I am to think.
Probably. Anyway, Helen will get up. That was a very nice performance. You you have a pretty good voice. Good night.
Thank you. Quite the skittish one.
Well, as lovely as that was, I must be getting some sleep too. Thank you for the performance, and awkwardly he'll just shuffle off upstairs too.
Yeah. Procyon is going to sit there at the table for a bit before looking out the window, and then
Anything I can do for you?
he turns and he blinks a bit before saying, "Would it be quite all right if I stepped out for a second? I would be back inside in a few minutes to go up to sleep."
Yes, of course. Go ahead.
He would step outside, and it is dark enough that the stars are out, right?
Yes.
He would he would look up at them and find the brightest star, the North Star, and go, "I do hope you're doing all right, Orion. I do love our nightly chats, but this one will have to be shorter. I seem to be in a group now. Hopefully, the Oracle who has sent me this letter will know of a way for me to find you and our brethren. I do miss you quite ardently. I don't know what to do with myself most days, but I can still feel you, at least somehow, so I can't stop looking. At least not right now." He would spend a few minutes outside just gazing before coming back inside and going up the stairs.
Okay. The barkeep will lock the door and close off after herself. The night is quiet. No disturbances. And a bit too soon, the morning comes again. And as you do walk down, the Bard is already downstairs with the two people who were sitting at the bar.
Lyra would wait in her room a little longer until the rest had left,
Mm-hmm.
and she would pull her cards out if she's alone in the room to see what they say today before she heads down.
Mm-hmm. Now, I did not have any specific list ready. So I'm just gonna give you something. Let's see. Where are we? Ah, yes. You have one of the visions a type of visions you've seen before. It's quite strange, as in you see things moving on the cards, which happened before to you. The things you see is a big gate in front of you. It is daytime, but sky is more black than sunlight. And you hear, you know, it's storming quite heavily.
All right. She looks at the card and just lets it do what it does when this specific thing happens. She sighs and this can't be good. Uh, I'll just keep it to myself for now. And okay. And she takes the cards and puts it to her chest and whispers a thank you and then puts it back in the bag and goes downstairs.
When everyone's downstairs, the bard says, "You ready to go?"
I do believe the rest of our group should be here, right?
Does anybody know if there's going to be a storm soon, by chance?
Tom. Procyon looks out the window. Can I roll a perception check?
Yes.
Can I roll as well?
22.
You can roll as well. Yes,
No.
everyone can roll if
it's
they
not
want.
not really necessary, but
You can if you want.
Yep.
Procyon
takes a
at
while.
least sees that there's certainly no storm close. Of course, in the evening it could be storming, but at this moment, skies are quite clear.
Skies are quite clear right now, but I will keep it in mind for the future.
Yes.
do we have to go before breakfast?
Only if you can. No, not before breakfast, but don't make it too long, please.
I'll just get some bread and cheese and get ready to go.
Yes.
Could eat on the road.
Mm-hmm.
Procyon's also going to grab some bread and cheese before he's going to sit outside on the bench.
Okay.
Lara's gonna do the same and walk outside and spread her wings and flies up to the roof and sits there looking at the surroundings.
Lana walks
cool.
over to the bar and leaning her elbows against the counter. She looks at the barkeep and bread and cheese is all well for breakfast. Do you have anything we could bring for a midday snack or food?
We have some dried meat.
That would be fine, yes. I do have rations on me, but anything a bit more gum and jaw friendly would be nice.
We do have some fruit.
That would be excellent.
Yes.
Yes, fruit would be amazing. Thank you.
Okay. She grabs a bit of fruit from the back and comes back, putting it on the bar. Just make sure it was safe again. Just make sure it was safe again.
Yes, absolutely.
Please take care of
and
this. Yeah.
Should we be able to bring something back, I'll make sure that you get it.
That would be very nice, yes.
I hear boar works well in a stew. She'll leave a silver coin on the counter, grab the fruit, and walk out the door.
Okay.
Witten will probably slowly make his way downstairs and then come to the bar, see everyone waiting outside ready to go, and just ask, how much for a bottle of the wine you served me last night?
I'll give it to you.
Oh, well, very kind of you. How much would you normally charge for a bottle of wine? Just out of curiosity.
A bottle of that wine?
Yes.
About 3 silver pieces. Not the
Oh,
best
well.
wine we have, but
How much for your best wine?
our best wine. A bottle, eh? That's
Yes, please.
getting close to 5 gold pieces.
Very good. 5 gold pieces it is, and he puts them down.
You sure?
As soon as I've arrived in this bar, I've been sure of nothing more.
I'll grab it for you. He walks to the back, putting out a bottle of wine out of the wine rack, and comes bringing it back. Here you go. This is the most expensive wine we have.
Lovely. Well, good day.
I hope you have a good day. Yes.
And he'll put the wine in his little in a pocket on the inside of his long coat, and then walk outside.
Okay. The Bard and the 2 people sitting at the table are walking out as well. Shall we be going then?
Right.
They will.
Lyra. Oh. Go ahead.
Taneas and Javin will escort us to the place they have at least seen the board last time.
Yeah, let's go.
Lyra,
way.
did you hear them?
Oh, yes. Don't worry, I'll fly above you. And she'll spread her wings and follow the group flying.
And I think we're gonna hunt for this boar in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
I hope you had a good impression of your fellow adventurers.
Maybe a little bit too much of a good. But I love them already.
That's good.
I had a great time. Yeah, just in case people are wondering, Zana is very. I don't know what the English word is precisely, but she is outwardly very haughty, I think is the word. Like, she speaks in a very precise way, but on the inside, she likes playing pranks on people. She's not a trickster, but she likes playing pranks on people. So she can be quite cutting. So
What's
please
the
do.
What's the Dutch word you would use for it?
Yeah. I
Okay.
don't.
Since
I don't
that,
speak
don't know what
Dutch.
You have to
Oh,
be
okay,
Dutch
sorry,
to know
sorry,
that word.
sorry.
Yeah.
A lot
From-
of Dutch people here. Sorry.
Yeah, that's 3 Dutch people here. There's someone from England, there's someone from the US, and there's someone from Sweden.
Yeah.
Gosh, was it that obvious?
No,
She
of course
understood
Stuck
it.
up one being British? No.
Hearty, proud, in an elegant or rich kind of way.
Yeah, she'll speak in a haughty kind of way, but she's not. It's just a facade.
Oh, interesting.
I mean,
She's a tsundere.
Yeah, pretty much. Procyon is he's very friendly with everybody. Sometimes he doesn't really filter his words very well, but he is very perceptive and he is aware if he is either making someone uncomfortable or not, which is more than you can say for a lot of nymphs. But he has to be perceptive and aware of others because he is a village chief of not only nymphs but also of other races, so he had to be aware of that culture difference,
He is gonna be
Uh,
the end of Kalen, isn't he?
He's gonna be the what?
The end of Kalen.
Oh yeah, maybe.
We'll see that
We'll see.
We'll see in the future. For now,
Yep.
I will be ending stream. I do at least thank Bolly for the raid.
Oh, yeah, thank you so much.
Had I hope you all had a great idea, a good idea of what we're gonna do. All the characters. In 2 weeks, they will go and see if they can handle this boar. And after that, they will go to level 2. So I already want to ask you as players to prepare your ideas for level 2, so we can do that quite quickly. For now, I do gonna see if we can go somewhere. Yes, I will send us off to Cass. Yes.
Cass is on.
Yeah,
Nice.
Cass is on. So I'm gonna send us there. In 2 weeks we'll be back, and then we will be at 4 p.m. European time, Central European time. Yes, I do hope you have a good 2 weeks. I might be streaming in between somewhere for people to gather some channel points so they can go and give advantage. They will need it.
Please help us.
I'm a rogue. I can give myself advantage.
I do actually not allow you to give yourself any.
No, I mean I can hide.
Yes, with it, not with challenge. You're not allowed to give yourself advantage with channel
No,
points.
obviously. Oh wait, no, that's only at level 2. Fuck.
Yeah, sorry, that's after.
I got
after
bardic
level.
inspiration, so I can help us at least a little bit.
So we'll see you again, hopefully in 2 weeks. Goodbye.
Yes, thanks for watching, everyone.
Bye.
You're
Yeah,
great.
keep watching.
Bye.
Bye.